In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to prevent spam on your website. I'm going to show you how to incorporate Google's new reCAPTCHA software into your web forms for free. This is a step-by-step easy tutorial, and I'll be making everything clear and easy to follow. So as I said, this is a demo of what we'll be creating in this tutorial. I've just created this really simple template and I've created this form. So let's try and submit this, and we're going to submit this twice as a demonstration of what we'll be doing. The first time we're going to deliberately make the form fail, and in the second we'll pass. So let's go ahead and start. So I'm just going to put in some information. I'll just say Ashley Brown, let's just say Ashley at gmail.com, and here I'll just say hi. So I'm not going to verify this, but I'm going to submit the form. So let's click on contact us, and you can see it says CAPTCHA failed, please try again. So let's try and submit this form successfully. So again, I'm just going to enter the same information, Ashley Brown, Ashley at gmail, just say hi, and this time we're going to click on I'm not a robot. We're going to get this tick, and then we're going to click on contact us, and you can see here it works. Your message has been sent, and you can apply Google's reCAPTCHA software to any form on your website, whether it's a contact form, a register form, it doesn't matter. It will work with every form on your website, and of course it will prevent spam if you're having junk mail problems, if bogus accounts are being created in your database. If you incorporate this reCAPTCHA software, and if you follow this video tutorial to incorporate it into your site and your scripts, you will be a lot better off by the end of it. Before we begin this tutorial, I just want to go through a few things I've done in preparation for it. So I wanted to give you guys an example and take you through this step by step so that it's really clear and you can follow it and apply it to your own projects. So what I've done is I've created this simple template. It's really clean, and what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate Google's reCAPTCHA into this contact form. And this contact form doesn't do anything. I have coded it up correctly. It's got validation. It has everything. But we're going to be incorporating Google's reCAPTCHA here. So basically, this form will only submit, or submit an email or whatever, if the user has verified themselves successfully. Now, I'm assuming by the fact you're watching this video, you know what CAPTCHA is, but just in case you don't, I'm going to give you a quick background of what we'll be doing today. So we're going to be incorporating Google's new reCAPTCHA software, script, whatever you want to call it, into our form. And this is a basic preview of what we'll be doing, what we'll be incorporating. A CAPTCHA field basically prevents spam on your website. There's a lot of scripts that are around today that will literally scan the web, find forms and submit them with bogus information. It can create a huge amount of inbox spam, and just basically makes you receive a whole load of junk mail. And if it's a registration form, it just creates really bogus accounts, which is just terrible, a waste of time, clutters up your database, and you don't need that. So what I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to incorporate this CAPTCHA system into your forms so that you won't have that problem anymore. Now, I just want to give you a quick overview of why this is such a good option for you. There are other forms of CAPTCHA that are available. This is the older version of the Google's reCAPTCHA that we'll be using today. I've never actually used this myself, but it is actually a really successful project because it was free. As I said, this is an outdated version, but this is what a lot of the reCAPTCHA systems that you'll see today on the web look and work like. Basically, it just has an image with either words or random letters, and the user is required to enter and copy those words and letters into a field, and if it's correct, you'll submit the form. If it's not correct, you'll be asked to do it until you do it correctly. And the idea is that a robot cannot submit that form because they're not human, they can't read the image to copy it and submit it successfully. The problem is, the reason I never used or liked this was because it's very difficult if you look at this even now to read these words. You know, it's just almost impossible. And I never used this myself because I didn't like it. I always wrote my own Captcha scripts. But if you actually, when I did come across this on websites I used on the web, I could never, sometimes I couldn't even submit the form because I just couldn't read it, or it just never seemed to work. So that's why Google's new reCAPTCHA is so effective. And I'm going to give you an example now. This is our official website. It's siteeasy.com. If you'd like to check it out, there'll be a link in the description of the video. We sell a huge variety of scripts and pre-built websites. So fully take this opportunity to encourage you to check this out. But we've incorporated Google's reCAPTCHA into our own website, and if we come and look at our register form, this is how it works. Now, but what I understand is it kind of watches your cursor and how it moves around the screen. So instead of requiring someone to come along and do something that's very time consuming, like enter words or letters, all the user has to do is click this box. And when they do, you should see this, which is a tick. And the reason that this is so much better is because the user is not required to do anything that's time consuming. All they have to do is just tick that box that says I'm not a robot, and that's it. And as I said, it just watches your cursor as you move it to click that box, and it judges based on how it moves around the screen if you're a human or a robot, because as you can imagine, it's very different. But as I said, it's not really important for you to understand how it works. You just need to make sure you code it so it actually works properly on your site. Okay, so I've come back to Dreamweaver, and this is the template that I've created. If you just come into code view, there's no other files. It's just one PHP file. I've got some CSS basically and some HTML. Here's my form, as you can see. So this is all I've got. It's very simple, and I've got no PHP yet. We're going to write the PHP to handle it. So let's actually start the tutorial, and let's start incorporating our reCAPTCHA script. Okay, so I've come back to Google's reCAPTCHA website. And we're going to start setting this up. Now, there'll be a link in the description of the video to this page. Alternatively, you can just go to Google and type in Google's reCAPTCHA. It'll be the first link that comes up, and it should look like this. When you are here, just click on Get reCAPTCHA. Obviously, you're going to need to sign in, so go ahead and sign in to your Google account. Now, when you actually do that and you sign in, you'll be taken here where you can see your reCAPTCHA websites, which if you don't have in here, all you need to do is just scroll down and click on register a website. So if this is the first time you're logging in, this is probably what you'll see. You'll be able to actually register your website. So just put in a label, put in your domain. You can put all your domains in at the same time if you want to, and then fill in the rest of the form and just click on register, and just go through the process to register the site. When you have done that, all you need to do is just select the one that you want to basically install this on. So I'm going to be installing this on SimpleTut, which is our official social web designer social network where we post all of our tutorials. And of course, this is a tutorial, so we're going to go ahead and post it. We're going to use this website as an example. So I'm just going to click on this. All right, now I've clicked on it. I've been redirected here. And what I can do from here is I have adding reCAPTCHA to your site. Now you've got 3 steps to this. Well, 2 steps and information. Let's put it that way. The first thing here is keys. Now if I click on keys, you're going to see that I have a site key and I have a secret key. Now for my own personal For our own personal security reasons, I cannot share these keys with you, but you of course will have your own, and you need to copy both your site key and your security key. Just take a note of them into Notepad or something where you can reference. We're going to be using these later on in the tutorial. The second will be just the integration. So you have the client-side integration. This is kind of more the HTML, what we call the scripts, the dependent scripts, where we actually put in the div tag for the CAPTCHA to load out on the page. So if I expand step 1, you're going to see that's exactly what I get. I get the script, the link to the script that reCAPTCHA relies, and I also get a handy piece of code. Which I can just paste into my HTML where I want the reCAPTCHA to actually appear on my page. So what I've done is I've just lined these two up side by side just to show you how this is going to work. I'm going to come into code view. As you can see, this is the page that I have my form on. And what I'm going to do is just, obviously here I have my opening head tag, and here I have my closing head tag. So just before my closing head tag, I'm going to copy in this code. This is the link to the script on Google's server. This is what we need. This is what reCAPTCHA relies on. The second bit of code is here. This is where you want the actual, the reCAPTCHA element to appear on your page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this code, and I'm going to come back into Dreamweaver. And this really depends on how you've coded this. Now, of course, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new spot on my form where I want this. So basically, I want this reCAPTCHA to appear just above the button here that submits the form. So if I come here, this is my div that contains my form button. So I'm going to go ahead and create another div. I've got a class here for form element that contains all my individual form elements. And here I'm going to paste the code that I just took from Google, which will basically tell Dreamweaver where to, or your page, where to load the reCAPTCHA. Let's go back into design view. You're not going to see anything here, but if we now come into preview this in our web browser, so I'm going to launch this in Explorer, and we'll save the changes. You're going to see that we are now getting the reCAPTCHA appearing in our page. The problem that we have here is that it has no bearing on the form whatsoever. It's loading on the page, it works, it verifies the user, but the result has no bearing on whether the form is submitted or not. So we need to use PHP, and this is a server part of the integration. We need to use PHP to check whether this reCAPTCHA field has been successfully verified or not, and dependent on that result, we want to submit the form. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to code that now. Also, okay, so now that we've called the script that Google's reCAPTCHA is dependent on, and also that we've inserted the HTML div tag, which will determine where the reCAPTCHA actually loads on the page, we need to create the server-side validation that'll actually process this. And we do this with PHP, okay? So this is where we basically handle the response. So what you want to do is at the very top of your page, okay, you want to create your opening and closing PHP tags, because we're going to write and we're going to do this with PHP. So everything, all of your PHP code has to be between your PHP tags, and you want this to be at the very top of your page. And then what we want to do is we want to wrap this
in an if statement, okay? Because, and I will explain this, but you want to do this because you only want to run this code in the event the form is actually submitted. So we're going to say if is set, and basically what we're saying is post, because we only want this code to run if the contact button is submitted. That's the only time this code needs to actually run. The next thing is we need to actually create a few variables that we're going to be using in our query where we handle the response. So what we're going to do is we're going to create two variables. The first variable we're just going to call URL, and this URL will equal the following. So it's https colon www.google.com / and if I remember it's reCAPTCHA / API / I think it's site verify. Well, the second variable that we need is actually the one for your we're going to call it private key, and this is actually your secret key. So if you recall earlier in the tutorial, I showed you how to get your keys from Google's reCAPTCHA website. You got two keys. The first one was your site key, and we used the site key further down in the div tag that determines where the reCAPTCHA loads on your page. Your secret key is what you want to insert into this variable, okay? Because this is the one that you don't want to show, because you want to keep this one secret. So we're calling this private key, and you want to insert your secret key into this variable. Those are the only two variables that we actually need, but now we need to handle the response. So we're going to create a variable called response. Okay, so this is basically going to be the following. We're going to say file get contents. Now everything between these two brackets here, we're going to do basically the following. So the first thing is we're going to call the URL, and then it's a combination of sort of text and variables. So we need to basically write this out as follows. So here, this is going to be our private key variable. So this is a parameter, and this is the value, but it's coming from a variable. But this isn't the only thing. We also need to attach another two parameters. The next one will be the second, because it's a second parameter, we need to have the and symbol, and then we'll say response equals, and this is actually coming from post. So $_post, and it is G reCAPTCHA response, which will be remote IP, and this is coming from the server, and it is all uppercase remote Okay, and that's it. Now the few things that you need to make sure you do when you write out this code is there cannot be any spaces in this. Okay, so basically what we've done is we've used a combination of variables and we've created parameters in the URL based on either the variables that we set here, or something coming from the server or a post. Okay, so now we just need to create another variable. I'm going to call it data, and it's going to be JSON decode. I'm just going to call our response variable. And now we've pretty much done everything that we need to in terms of the server validation, getting that response and handling it. Now we actually do something with the code. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually use an if statement to do this. So we're just going to say if, and this is where it gets a little confusing. We need to say if is set, and here we need to basically call our data variable, and basically it's just based on if it's success. Okay, but we need to say and data success is true. Okay, and then basically if I just write this out, everything here with the condition that this is true, okay, this is what happens when user is verified. Okay, so here you'll paste your code in between these two opening curly braces based on the condition that the user has verified themselves. So here you'll put your mail function or your query that will handle your form when it is submitted. Okay, so if you already have that code, you want to just paste this around it. Okay, and here in between these two, so your else statement, if this is not true, so if it was false, if the user was not verified, then here you want to do something else. You want to show an error message, ask them to try again, and there's a number of ways to do that, and I'm going to actually demonstrate that to you now. So just to show you that it is working and we can test this form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say header location, and I'm just going to post it back to the same page. So example captcha.php, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a parameter. I'm going to say captcha fail equals true. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just redirecting the page. If it is successful, oh sorry, so this is actually the true statement. So this is a captcha pass. Okay, and then here I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but here it's going to be captcha fail. Okay, so what we're doing here is if this succeeds and the user is verified, we're just going to redirect them back to the same page with this parameter, captcha pass equals true. And if it fails, your else statement, so if the user is not verified, then we're redirecting them back to the page with the parameter captcha fail. Okay, so if I come back to my design view, you'll see this is my form, and what I'm going to do is, depending on if it's successful or if it fails, I'm going to use those parameters to display a message just below my header. Okay, so to do that, we're going to come back to our HTML and to our form, and just under my heading tag, I'm going to create another div. So again, I've got my form element, so class, I've got this form element class here, so it's really easy for me. And I'm literally just going to have a message. I'm just going to say, so email. Let's say something like message sent. And then we can have another div, and the message here is going to be CAPTCHA failed. Please try again. Okay, so we've got a success message and a failure message. We need to wrap both of these up in some PHP if statements to actually handle this. So the first thing, all we're really doing here is saying if is set, okay, and I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'll copy this here, and then, oops, actually no, we want that here. Don't need that. Okay, so as you can see here, what we're saying is set is the parameter. So to do that, we say $_get, and here we're just checking that, what is it? So capture pass. This parameter is going to be set when the message is sent, and I think it's capture fail. Well, should be capture fail equals true. That's the parameter here. So here again we say _get, and that's it. So I'm now going to just explain what I've done, and then we can come back and test this. So first of all, at the top of the page, we've basically used an if statement to only run this code when the form is actually submitted. Then we've created two variables. One just contains the URL path to the location on Google's server where it handles the reCAPTCHA response. Then we've created a private key, which is actually called your secret key in Google, and you want to put that here. And then we have a response variable which kind of has what you can view as a query. You want to make sure there's no spaces here, but basically we're just using a combination of variables, different types of posts, and also, you know, we've got a private key and URL variables in here. Then basically we're just checking that response using an if statement. And here again is where you put your PHP code to handle the form if it's successful. And for this example, we've just used header location. So we're just going to post this variable so I can show you that it works. Sorry, parameter. And we've done the same thing for the failure message. Down here, we've just required the script Google provides that the reCAPTCHA is dependent. And here we've just used some if statements so I can show you some failure and success messages and prove that it does work. And of course here again, this is where we're actually displaying the reCAPTCHA on the page. Again, this is where your site key goes, and I've removed it for our own personal security reasons. And here, this is where you enter your secret key. So that's all it is, that's all it takes. Remember, we've got two if statements, so you're going to need two of these closing curly braces, but that's it. That's the code. Okay, so let's just test this. So John Brown, John Gmail, let's just say hi. And for the first time, let's just test that this works when the user hasn't verified themselves successfully. So I'm just going to submit this. Okay, so you can see we're getting the error, CAPTCHA failed, please try again.
Thank you for following this video tutorial. I'd just like to take this chance to encourage you to visit our official website, simpletut.com. There'll be a link in the description of this video, but here we post all of our video tutorials, and this is a fantastic learning resource for you if you are trying to learn more about web development or hone your skills. Some of our tutorials range from creating a MySQLite user registration systems to PHP classes to content management systems or building CSS menus. We have a huge range of tutorials. Of course, we also have other areas on the site, including an Ask a Question area where you can post a question based on this or any other tutorial, or perhaps even a project of your own. We also have a blog where we post code, and a freebies section where you can actually download some of the resources from our tutorials and other freebies. Of course, I'd also like to just mention that we do have a donate button on our website. So if you are a fan of our project, then you can contribute. And of course, it is your support that enables us to continue providing the content that you enjoy. There will be a link in the video, and also there is, of course, a link in the video and, of course, on our website to our official Facebook page, where we have just exceeded over 2,000 likes. But here we post all of our new tutorials when we release new freebies and other learning resources or tips. Of course, if you like our Facebook page, it will be a great way for you to interact with us and stay in time with us as we release new content. You'll be one of the first to know. So it's a great way for you to stay in touch with us as we release new content. I'd also like to inform you about one of our other latest projects, which is CSS Menu Creator. Again, there'll be a link in the description of the video, cssmenucreator.com. This is a great resource for you as well, because if you are creating websites, there's nothing better than time savers, and creating CSS menus can be quite time consuming. CSS Menu Creator creates your menus for you. It literally writes the code. So this is a preview of the menu I'm building. I literally just have to enter my title. So for example, if I wanted to enter home, I could enter a link, click on add link. I can delete them just as easily, and as you can see, it's writing the code for me. So it's writing the HTML here, and if I logged in and created an account, the CSS would appear here. And there are tutorials on creating how to incorporate these menus into your website if you do decide to become a member and view the documentation or the video tutorials. I'd also like to take this opportunity to inform you about one of our main website. Again, a link in the description to siteeasy.com. This is where we offer a huge range of products ranging from pre-built websites, including our social network, e-commerce website, content management, file upload, property listings, much more. We also have pre-built PHP scripts, including user registration, site search, digital goods for PayPal, comment systems, billing systems, contact forms, much more. And of course, you can view our portfolio, or of course, get in touch with us if you do have any if you would like for a custom project, or perhaps web design. If you do get in touch, a member of our team will be more than happy to respond as soon as possible. So once again, I'd just like to thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube, and visit all of our websites. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.